Imagine standing in front of a locked room. You need to get inside, so you spend 8 hours slamming your shoulder against the heavy wood, trying every wrong key, pushing until you're completely exhausted. That physical exhaustion is exactly what it feels like when you study for months, only to fail the same exam a second time, or when you grind away at a stagnant job for years with zero promotion. We're taught to solve problems by pushing harder in a straight line. If you fail, try the exact same approach again, but with more effort. This is vertical thinking. But what if you paused and looked at the wall next to that door? You might notice an open window right at ground level. This alternative approach is lateral thinking. Reaching your target rarely requires breaking down a solid wall. It usually requires finding a smarter angle of approach. If you want to see this perfectly executed, look at Rowan Atkinson. Since childhood, he struggled with a severe stutter, tripping over basic sentences and physically locking up when trying to form words. He wanted to build a career in comedy and entertainment, an industry entirely reliant on crisp, rapid-fire verbal delivery and precise timing. The standard response to a speech impediment is to seek out a quiet, background profession. You look for administrative roles, accounting, or anything where speaking is optional. Dominating a field built heavily on human speech while lacking the physical ability to speak fluently is a mathematical contradiction. Atkinson stopped trying to force words out and instead broke down the underlying goal. People speak to transmit information and ideas to each other. This diagram outlines his specific problem. Data transmission doesn't rely strictly on vocal cords. Humans communicate using a massive array of variables. Instead of fixing the broken audio channel, he muted it entirely and dialed the other two to maximum. He amplified his facial contortions and exaggerated his physical gestures to deliver punchlines silently. This shift birthed Mr. Bean. He created a globally recognized comedic figure whose episodes draw hundreds of millions of viewers, all without uttering a single coherent sentence. He bypassed his biological disadvantage entirely by rewriting the rules of how a joke is told. Later in his career, Atkinson expanded into feature films, where speaking actual dialogue was an unavoidable requirement of the script. He could have spent countless hours with speech therapists, grinding through grueling phonetic exercises to force his mouth to cooperate. Instead, he applied a second lateral insight. He shifted his focus from the mechanics of his tongue to the psychology of his own mind. He noticed a specific pattern. Rowan Atkinson, the individual, has a stutter, but the fictional spy or eccentric priest he is playing on camera does not. By fully absorbing himself into a completely different persona, shedding his own traits entirely, the stutter vanished. His brain rewired itself to speak fluently because he was no longer speaking as himself. Sometimes the barrier blocking your path is tied up in the narrative you hold about your own identity. This framework applies directly to the roadblock sitting right in front of you. Almost every system we navigate, starting from formal education, rewards straightforward, repetitive compliance. If you fail a test, the immediate reaction is to reread the exact same textbook for 10 more hours. If a career path is making you miserable, you convince yourself to just push through for another 5 years. Look closely at the area in your life where you feel the most friction right now. Are you actually making progress, or are you repeatedly slamming your shoulder into a locked door? Blind perseverance pointed in the wrong direction is a psychological trap. Lateral thinking gives you the permission to pause, stop the exhausting grind, and zoom out to see the entire room. Stop attacking your fixed weaknesses head-on. There is almost always an open window nearby that will get you inside with zero resistance. Spotting that alternative route requires you to abandon the exact rules you were previously told to follow. If this shift in perspective gave you an alternative angle on your own goals, hit the subscribe button, drop a like, and share this video with a friend who is currently stuck staring at a wall.